Okay, girls, today is abs day, so we are going to really start to understand how our abdominals work and make sure our form is really good. So we're kind of stripping away everything today. Just basic floor mat is all you need. No shoes needed. We're just going to really understand how our body moves, how our spine moves, and really get those deep abdominal muscles to work in our favor. And as I keep telling you, we're going to advance this as we go. We'll add some resistance. We'll add some different, more compound moves to it. But we're honing it in, making sure we're using really good form at the very beginning, because your safety and your understanding is most key. So really, really important. So we've talked a little bit about, the first day we talked a little bit about how to recruit our deep abdominals. So we have actually 4 sets of abdominal muscles. Your diaphragm is technically considered an abdominal muscle. And then we have the transversus that I talked to you about. It's the one that's like a corset, runs all the way around the front and the back of the spine like this, draws everything in. And then we have our obliques that go this way and this way, internal and external obliques. And then finally we have that muscle that everybody loves. It's the 6-pack abs, and it's called your rectus, and it goes from the top of the pubic bone to the bottom of your rib cage, and it actually flexes us and folds us in this way. So the deepest, most important muscles, though, are that diaphragm and that transversus. We're going to use those first, and then start to work out a little bit more superficially. So start deep, and then work out. Okay? So today, let's start off with laying on our back. And we're just going to go ahead and reach those toes away from you. Reach your arms up overhead. Just feel this nice little stretch. Maybe even reach right arm over the head and stretch the right leg away. And then go the opposite way. Left arm, left foot. And then again, right arm, right foot. And left arm, left foot. Good. And then bring your hands down to your side, and we're rolling our shoulder blades back. So what this does is it opens the collarbones up to the ceiling and opens your shoulder blades to your mat, so that your shoulders are actually pointing out rather than up like this. So we want those shoulder blades down and back. Good. Now we're just going to start that breath. So breathing in through that rib cage like I taught you. Exhale, pull that belly button to your backbone. Feel that deep wrapping up, and the pelvic floor lifts at the same time. So let's just do a few of those. Inhale, exhale, belly button wraps. Good. Inhale, expanding that rib cage. Exhale, purse lips through the diaphragm, pulling that transversus in and lifting the pelvic floor. And one more time, big inhale, exhale. Nice. Make sure you're not breathing into the shoulders. We want to keep them down and relax. Make all the work come right in here. Just like imagine a ball from the rib cage to the belly button, and everything's happening in that little area there. Okay, from here, we're going to go ahead and bend your knees so your feet go flat on the floor. Go ahead and turn your palms over and find that neutral spine here. So we want to have a little bit of a curve. Now my neutral is a little bit more exaggerated than most people, so you may not have this big of a curve, but what you want is that your pubic bone and your hip bones right here are flat like this. So you have a little triangle that's flat versus your low back down like this and your pubic bone up in the air. So I'm going to like that. Okay, now with your hands down on the floor, you're going to tuck your chin just a little bit, and what that does is lengthens the back of the neck. And then from here, you're just going to start to slide your ribs down to your hips as you lift your head up in the air. So I want you to think about it more from here, sliding the ribs and lifting your heart. And then your head just follows, so we set that cervical spine. And then we're looking over these flat abs as we pull that belly button to the backbone. And then we roll it back down, articulating back down. And the final thing to touch is the back of our head, your occipital bone back here at the top, the bottom of your head, back of your head. So as simple as that sounds, I've seen some really painful looking curls in my lifetime, because what we really want to make sure we do is set that neck. The cervical spine, or your neck, should follow your thoracic spine. It just wants to join in that same similar curve. So in order to do that, we really have to think of our sit-ups or our crunches coming right here from the heart, sliding the rib cage down, and then the neck is just coming with you, rather than the head doing the crunch. Okay, so let's try that again. Tuck the chin, roll the shoulders just up off the mat. Think about sliding the ribs to your hips and a little string pulling your heart right through your knees. So you have this nice curve here, flat abs. Your pelvis doesn't flip back like this. You're going to keep it in that neutral spine, so you have that little bit of curve here. And there's a lot of work going on just to do this. We're going to take an inhale, shoulders are down and back, and then roll it back down one vertebrae at a time until finally your head is the last thing to touch. Let's do about 4 more of those. So it's a chin nod, inhale, exhale, slide the ribs to your thighs. Hold it here as you breathe to the sides of the rib cage. Exhale, bring it back down, rolling through the spine. Inhale, chin nod. Exhale, slide the ribs to the thighs. Take a deep breath in here, expanding the rib cage. You got those flat abs. Exhale, bring it back down. Really working on that head position. Let's do 2 more. Chin nod. Exhale, come on up. Inhale, breathe to the sides of the belly or the rib cage. Exhale, bring it back down. And final one, chin nod. Exhale, slide it there, ribs and hips. Deep breath in, and we bring it back down. Notice how I'm not reaching with my jaw. My neck is nice and curled. Tucked, chin is tucked, and bring it back down. Good. So if you feel any strain in your neck on that, I want to see you do it. I want to work with you on that so that you're really taking good care of your cervical spine. Now, that's not to say that you may not feel a little bit of tension there, because these muscles aren't used to carrying your head sideways. They're very used to carrying your head straight up and down. So as we work through this, if you start to get a little bit of tension, what you can do is gently put your hands back behind your head, kind of make a little hammock, and make sure you're not using your hands to pull, but you're just using your hands to rest the back of the head there. So let's just do a couple like that. And here's one way that I will know if you're pulling is if your elbows start to pull forward. So keep those elbows out and just create a little head hammock. So tucking the chin, slide the rib cage down. Inhale and bring it back down. Let's do one more. Tuck the chin. This is your inhale. Exhale. Up. Inhale, hold. Belly button draws to your backbone. And exhale, bring it back down. Now let's take that to a 2 count breath. So it's an inhale to prepare, an exhale to come up, an inhale to lower, and exhale to come up. Notice that my abs are really flat. I'm pulling that transversus in, belly button to the backbone, and then the rectus is working to shorten here. So the rib cage and the pubic bone come closer together. That's the rectus's job. So we are working our way out to the superficial muscles. Let's go 4. And 3, get those shoulder blades up off the mat if you can. 2, that's going to be a goal as we progress. Final 1, and then bringing it back down. Okay, so you know through that you felt that we're working more in the upper body here. So we're getting this crunching out of those upper abs. So now we're going to work on those lower abs. And so I'm going to teach you what's called imprint in Pilates, and this is where your lumbar spine is going to collapse into the mat. And the reason that we do this is to help get those abdominals stronger. So this is your pelvis. You're going to tip the pelvis back and bring your low back to the mat. Now there's a trick to this, is that when you do this, I want you to be able to do it with just your ab muscles. So what's happening is the bottom of the rib and the top of the hip are like little suspenders, and they're coming closer together. So I'm using my abs to do this rather than my glutes and my heels. So I can tell in my classes if you're using your glutes and your heels, because your butt will come up first of all, and your inner thighs will look like they're just on fire. They're working hard. So right now, I don't know if you can see on me, but that is doing it out of my legs and my glutes versus this is doing it out of my abdominals. Okay, so practice that, just getting your low back down to the mat. You might feel some tension up here in your shoulders and your neck. Just tuck your chin down just a little bit and that will help. Now from here, once you're able to do that, and we'll test to see if you're really using your abs, here's our test. You're going to bring your right knee up into our tabletop. And in tabletop, the knee and the hip are are stacked on top of each other, and then the knee and the ankle are on the same plane. And I'll catch myself with my ankle a little bit higher, so I have to get that ankle down sometimes. And you'll feel, just to keep your low back attached to the mat, you'll feel those obliques coming in right here. So you can kind of press on the sides of your abdominals, and those obliques are working here as well. So here's the kicker, is we're going to raise this left knee up without letting that low back come off the mat. So you really have to work to seal that lumbar spine down as you peel that leg up. So a lot of times what I'll see is this. Your low back gets away from the mat. I don't know if you guys can see that on this floor, but this is what I want you to get back to. Relax your shoulders, pull those knees and ankles together, keep that low back sealed to the mat. And I'm working like crazy right here in the top of my abdominals to make that work. And then I'm going to lower this foot back down, still with my lumbar spine to the mat. Lower this foot back down, and then I come back out to neutral, which again, my neutral is a little crazy, exaggerated. That's why I do Pilates. Okay, so let's do that again. Exhale, tip the pelvis into imprint, not using your glutes, only using your abs. So your transversus draws in, belly button to backbone, your obliques work, and then your rectus works to pull everything shorter. So all of your ab muscles are working to do this. And now we bring our right knee into tabletop, still keeping that low back down. We bring our left knee into tabletop, still keeping that low back down. It's hard, it's hard, it's hard. And we're going to hold it here. If you want, you can turn your palms upside down. We're going to squeeze those knees in, try to keep that low back down to the mat. Now from here, we're going to roll back. So this is called a rollover prep. We're tipping our hip bones back, feeling that lumbar spine on the mat. So this takes a lot of work. You may not be able to get up this high at first. My husband used to coach little kids basketball, and he would say, just give me a 1 credit card jump. So can you get 1 credit card underneath there? 1 credit card jump. Squeeze into those deep abs. Roll it up. Yes. 4. Use the breath. 3, 2, and final 1. Good. This is really important basic principles. Let's see if we can keep that low back attached to the mat as we bring one foot down, and then we bring the other foot down, and then we come back to neutral. Good. So our general rule is whenever we have your feet up in the air, we're going to use this imprinted spine where the low back is down. Because here's what happens if we don't. If we bring these legs up and we go into this, is the opposite. It's called an anterior tip. That's compressing my low back in the back. That squeezes my lumbar spine together. Versus this adds space and it recruits my abdominals a lot more. So let me move my arms so you can see that. Yes, this. No, that. No, no, no. Ouch, ouch, ouch. So there we go. I'm working hard. All right, bring your knees back in. Lower those feet back down to the floor. I'm going to keep my feet flat on the floor. I'm going to use my hands to protect my neck for this next one. And we're going into a little bit of oblique rotation. So we start again, tucking the chin, sliding the ribs to the hips, coming up into a curl. My nose goes straight to the center first. And then I'm going to take my right elbow just towards my left thigh, keeping my right hip bone down and trying to stay neutral. Ooh, I caught myself imprinting. Go that way, come back to center, and then back down. Exhale up. Rotate back to center and back down. So it's up, right, center, down, up, left, center, and down. And again, up, center, down, up, left, center, down. One more time. Up, center, down and left, up, center, and down. Fantastic. Okay, let's add a little bit of a leg lift here. So since we're going to lift a leg, if you feel more comfortable in imprint, you can do that. So imprint, once again, is that low back sealing to the mat. So let's try it. We're going to come up, go to the right, lift the knee up. I'm going to stay neutral, I think. And then come back to center, lower it back down. Let's go left, up, rotate to the left, lift that knee up, bring it back to center, lower it back down. Be very deliberate about these movements. The slower, the better, because then you'll start to notice all that abdominal recruitment. Good. Again, up, center, rotate, and down, and one more time, up, and rotate, and back down. Fantastic. Okay, now tip the pelvis into imprint. We're going to bring both knees into tabletop. Seal those knees and ankles together, and this time we add a leg extension. So we curl up, we rotate, and we're going to extend that opposite leg out. So my left leg, I had to think about that. Bring it back to the center, and we go over to the right leg and bring it back up. Good. And now you can always come all the way back down if you choose. Good. Just notice what's going on in the body. Can you get that back elbow around? So I'm pulling my left elbow around as I go to my right side and vice versa. And just notice that deep abdominal work right there at the rib cage. Those are your obliques working. We got 4. And 3. Good. 2 more. And last one. And bring it back in. Lower the head. Let one foot come down. The other foot come down. Bring it back to neutral. This may sound really basic, but when you do it correctly, you are going to feel it. I've been doing this for 16 years and I still feel it. And that's what I love about it. Okay, so from here, we're going to extend the legs out. This is going to be a toughie. You may not be able to do it today, and that's perfectly fine. So we're going to do a full roll up. On this one, we bring our hands up to the ceiling, tuck the chin, and use those abs. So pull your belly button to the backbone, pelvic floor lifts up. Start to roll up and just get your shoulders off the mat. And see how my neck's nice and neutral? Good. Now we're going to try to keep coming up. So I'm coming up one vertebrae at a time. Belly button draws down until I'm up to a seated position. Now maybe that did not happen for you, and that is perfectly fine. So if you are not able to get all the way up, that's okay. Just push yourself up. I'm going to teach you how to learn to do this by going backwards. So instead of working on the up, you're going to work on the down. So on the down, your arms are extended in front of you. You're going to roll your shoulders down and back. You're going to tip your pelvis backwards. So feel that you have engagement right there. And then you're going to start to come backwards. Keep pulling that belly button to your backbone. Try not to use your hip flexors. And just go as far as you can, and then you'll feel this space where you flop back down, and that's okay. So then you can climb back up and keep going. And you're just going to keep practicing getting through that sticky spot where you remain in control all the way down. And it may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, it may not happen in this whole 6-week program, but that's okay, because you're learning a little bit more about how to engage deeply. This is the key, pulling that transversus in, rolling down one vertebrae at a time, and reaching back out. Good. Notice if you are able to get down that you want to bring your hands to the ceiling first so you're not using momentum to swing up. You want to bring them up here first, tuck the chin, really pull those abs in, and then bring it back up, forward fold, and then roll it back down using that control. I got my glutes turned on for this one too. For sure, for sure, for sure. Okay, that's hashtag goals right there. That one's a toughie. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to teach you today is doing it a little bit more in an upright posture. So I'm going to sit up. Got my feet here on the floor. Try to firmly plant them. So I always imagine that little tree roots are coming up and wrapping around my ankles and pulling me down into the ground, grounding me. It's nice imagery for just grounding your body anyway. I put my hands underneath my thighs to start off with, and then once again I'm going into that imprinted spine. So I'll turn to the side so you can see that. So first my hips are up, and then I'm tipping my hip bones backwards here and finding my ribs and thighs. Now you're going to almost fold right here where your rib cage ends. So you might want to get a little crease, so you definitely want a little crease there underneath your rib cage. And then you're going to come back up and lengthen through the spine. So from shoulders to pelvis, you're a straight line. And then from shoulders to pelvis, you fold in half, pulling those ribs down. So once again, it's like a little reverse crunch. So if you can see me, I'm rocking a little bit side to side as I come up. I have this really tight muscle in my left glute, and it's like a speed bump when I go down, and when I come back, I roll over it. And see that? So you might have something like that. I just want you guys to really, really understand that I am not perfect. So I have a lot of things. So I'll make sure to point them all out to you so you feel good. Oh yeah, good. Half roll back, and then bring it back up. Good, then we can get fancy with this by adding a little bit more resistance. So we may not have weight, but we have gravity. So our hands are not as heavy right here in front of us as they are above us. So raise those hands up. Oh yeah, feel that. And then lower back down. So we fold that crease here. Try to keep those abs from popping as we lift and lower. Shh, lift and lower. And again, lift and lower. I am working hard. My pelvic floor is turned on. My rectus is working. Let's go 3. Shh. And 2. I know you guys think I'm crazy already. And 1. Hold it here and we pulse. So I'm just lifting like a tether, my heart to my knees. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it all the way up. Oh, can we get this straight back? Knit those ribs down. And release those arms. You guys are doing fabulous, I can tell. Okay, now I want to do a little bit more oblique work, side to side. Anytime you're rotating, you're getting into those obliques. So we're going to do what we call a half roll back with rotation. So we roll down, and we're going to take this right arm, just kind of pull your elbow back in space, keep this left glute anchored down, and then come forward into that straight back. And we go to the other side, and bring it back up. Try not to lean away like this from your arm, so you keep your glutes anchored down, your body's still midline in the center rather than leaning to the side. Bring it back up. You feel it in your rotation there. And if that feels pretty easy for you, then you could straighten that arm and get that all the way out. That's really good for those fascial lines again. And then eventually, as we do this, we'll add a little hand weight or a little band weight. That's it. Try to keep those sit bones anchored down. Those feet are grounded to the mat. You're using that deep transverses to protect your spine. Those amazing dynamics of the musculature is working together. 3 and 2. And I always like, because I got to end up even, 1 more each side. 1 and 1. All right? 1 and 1. Fantastic. Yes. All right, extend those legs out in front of you. If you started to feel a little bit right here, these are called your hip flexors, and sometimes they grip when you're out in that position. So one way that you can relieve that a little bit is to turn your knees outward. So this diamond-shaped position kind of opens up those hip flexors and helps them release a little bit. Okay, so that was some really great basics for your abdominals. We'll finish off with a little stretch here. So I'm going to sit in what I call a Z-sit, or what those powers that be in the Pilates world call a Z-sit. So my right knee's out in front of me, my left ankle's behind me. Now if you get in this position and you look like this, I'm a little teapot. That's perfectly normal for some of us, especially if we have a tight inner thigh here and it's hard to drop into that hip. So what you can do is put a pillow underneath that right glute, and that'll keep you more perpendicular rather than flipped over like this. So put a pillow right there on that right glute. Okay, so I'm going to take my right hand down to the floor, left arm out, and I'm just going into this flexion here. Notice I'm relaxing the shoulder, and I'm opening that rib cage up. So we want to move that spine in all of its range of motion. Now we're going to take around like this, and my right hand reaches back, my left arm reaches over, and boy, I feel a stretch all the way down that fascial line. I'm reaching energy into that left knee as I bring it around. Obliques, say thank you. Good, bring it back in, and our left arm reaches over again, right elbow bends to keep that shoulder out of your ear. No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. Shh. Bring it back up, reach this right hand around and reach through that left knee. I'm pushing right into my left knee as I spiral around. Oh, my obliques love this. And then bring it back. I know yours will too. So now we flip over the opposite way. Left knee out in front, right ankle in back. Once again, if you feel like this, pad up this glute, left glute, and then get yourself more upright than teapotting over. You know, I'm a little teapot. Okay. So here we go. Flex over, let that right shoulder go down, and bring it back up. And then we reach. I'm reaching my left hand back, spiraling as my right arm comes over the front. So good. Bring it back to center. Flex over, let that left shoulder go down, opening up the rib cage here, bring it back up, and spiral around to the front. Fantastic. Good, so we just got a little rotation, a little flexion. Final thing here, we're going to come in and stretch those abs one more way in our quadruped position. So knees and hips are stacked up, shoulders and hands are stacked up. I'm going to teach you all kinds of great exercises in this position. Coming soon, stay tuned. But for now, stretch. We're going to tuck that tail down, cat back up. So you're trying to bring these 2 points, the top of your head and your tail together under your body. So curling inward. And then go the opposite way, unless you have a reason not to. So if you have any low back issues, this may not be good. Bring your shoulders down and back. Raise your chest. Raise your tailbone. So now you're bringing these 2 points together above your body. And then we go under the body one more time. Curl into that C shape. Crown of the head. Head to the tail. Tucking that tail under. Spread your shoulder blades. And then bringing it back up. Chin lifts. Shoulders down and back. Tailbone up in the air. Very nice. All right. Sitting back into those hips. Walk it up. And we just finished, day 4? 4 workouts? Well, depends on what order I arrange them in, but great job, you guys. Way to get to know those abdominals a little bit better. So excited for what's to come. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day.